Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I'm Marla Billinghurst and I'll be chairing the panel this afternoon. To my left is Mr. Maurice Therian and to my far left is Ms. Lori Davidson. The assessor this morning is Ms. Tricia Caldwell and the recording secretary is Ms. Kelsey Harrison. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And the first matter on the docket this afternoon is 931 Notre Dame Avenue.
Could you please state your name? And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Bradford Scott Borgstrom.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get ahead of you there.
No worries.
Please proceed when you're ready.
Certainly. We're starting with 931 Notre Dame, rule number 130602900100. We have an assessed value of $476,000. And if you look at the appellant's brief, we are going to accept that value, which is $386,000.
I've not had an opportunity to discuss it with my client, but it's pretty hard to argue against my own number.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
On what basis did you review
I feel the rent was too high for the market, and
Okay.
so when looking at comparables, I was going to make a recommendation anyways, and it was close to what Brad had,
Okay.
so.
Because I never looked at his.
Yeah, the other thing, and if I could just interject, if you want to go through it, you'll actually know or see that there's a sign, like a billboard sign on the front, beside the building, that generates rental income, and we included that income in addition to the rental rate we applied. So we're encompassing everything that's on the site.
So you're not disputing the cap rate on this one either?
I think it was what, 9?
That's what you wrote here. I just wanted.
Yeah, 9.2% were accepted.
Yeah, as you on page 8. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Davidson, did you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Great, nor did I. Okay, thank you both. The next matter is 563 Notre Dame.
Rule number 13060144100563 Notre Dame Avenue. We have an assessed value of $745,000. I actually have a recommendation for this property to decrease the value to $650,000.
Mr. Borgstrom?
Again, I've not had an opportunity to obviously discuss this with my client, but we are not proposing the recommendation, nor will be making submissions on this property here, if that makes sense.
Okay. We will remain silent.
Thank you.
Just let me make a note for a minute. Absolutely, just give me 1 second
Yeah,
to make a
let you finish.
couple notes. Okay, Mr. Perrin, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I always like to know what
Sure.
change you've made.
Yes, this is based on reduced rent of $6 per square
Okay.
foot from
So-
$685.
Nothing else is different?
That's just the rent, yeah.
Okay, from 685 to 6.
Yes,
Okay, same cap.
yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know, thank you.
Ms. Davidson?
No questions.
And I have no questions. Thank you. Lydia Street.
Roll number 1306015200, with an assessed value of $202,000. I also have a recommendation for this property to $150,000. This is based on a vacancy of 15%.
Sorry, can you repeat the recommendation?
Sure. 150,000.
150, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just anticipating Mr. Perrin's
It's gonna come.
This building has been vacant for some time, so we've increased the vacancy to 15%. It's also in a residentially zoned area. We have increased the cap rate to 7.8%.
Can you repeat the vacancy, please?
15%.
Mr. Borgstrom?
Again, I've not discussed it with my client, but we're not opposing and won't be making submission on this one.
Okay, Mr. Terrian, any questions?
Yeah, you said that it's been vacant for quite a while. Could you tell me how far back it's been vacant?
I believe it's 2013.
Oh, that long?
Yeah.
Okay, because I usually look if it's beyond 2 years or not, then it is beyond 2
Yes,
years.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Davidson?
No questions.
And I have no questions. You'll have to bear with us, we're used to not
No
moving this
worries.
fast, so it's taking us a little longer to make some notes. The next matter is 405 Notre Dame Avenue. Oh.
There's Lydia before, so.
That was just 55 Lydia that we just did.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay, I never wrote it down, thank you.
Okay.
I didn't write down the address.
It's okay,
There we go.
there.
This is roll number 1306008500. 405 Notre Dame Avenue. We have an assessed value of $135,000. I have a recommendation for this property to be reduced to $91,000. And this is based on a rent decrease from $7.55 to $5.65.
565?
That's correct.
Oh. Sorry, 1 second. Mr. Brooks.
Not opposing and not making submissions.
Okay.
Am I talking loud enough?
We can hear you.
Thank you.
Mr. Terrian?
No change in cap on this one?
No.
Okay, thank you.
7/8, right?
On this one?
I don't think so.
Oh, you're correct. You know what,
Oh.
I apologize. Mr. Borgstrom pointed out, yes. Sorry, there is a cap rate change on this
Well,
one.
there is?
Yes.
Okay, and it is?
It is 7.8 from 7.1.
Is that what Mr. Borgstrom was asking for?
I don't believe so.
I think we were looking for 8. Let me look.
It was 8%, right?
That could be.
Yeah, it looks like 8.
Yeah.
Looks like 8%.
8%, okay.
Well, 20 basis points.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just want to know based on the year and so on.
Ms. Davidson, did you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, nor did I. Next one is 1390 Spruce Street.
This is where I'm gonna actually go through and read. All right, roll number 130960863300. We have an assessed value of $2,023,000. This is a one-story building with an effective year of 1989. Wall heights are 16 to 24 feet. It's zoned M3, heavy manufacturing, and there's a land to plan area of 3.09. You'll see on page 2, there being
Bless you.
no sales on the property and no subject leases.
Excuse me.
This is an owner-occupied property by Flynn Equipment Rentals. They are a commercial roofing company. And on the next couple of pages, you can see some exterior photographs of the building and property. And on page 5, you'll see an overhead view of the entire parcel. On page 6, we have our capitalization rate chart. You'll see in the industrial section, industrial cap rates range from a low of 5.50 to a high of 9.8. 60% of cap rate, industrial cap rates fall between 6.34 and 7.8%. And on page 7, we have our income workup. We have a total leasable area of 23,252 square feet at a rate of $7.61 for potential rent of $176,948. There's a 6% vacancy loss in this area. We have expenses at 2%, a shortfall rate of $3.75, and an overall cap rate of 7.8% for our estimated value of $2,023,000. If you would turn to the following page, I have some comparable properties. For rents, again, our rent is $7.61. All the comparables are similar in size, flex warehouses, like the subject property. Rents range from $6.95 to $9.09. The average is $7.76, and the median is $7.25. Based on that information, I ask the board to confirm our value today at $2,023,000. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Boardroom, do you have questions?
I do have just a few. The subject property is located, generally speaking, in the west end, correct?
Yes.
Its location in the west end is a very small and limited pocket of industrial type properties, yes?
Yes.
And primarily comprised of older, low ceiling height, I'll call them flex warehouses, but more classically, they'd be just office or storefront and industrial at the rear, storage at the rear.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So this property could be considered something of an oddball for the area, yes?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And you agree with me that the property on the east side fronts on Spruce Street, yes? And on the west side fronts on Valor Road. And Valor Road in that location is a gravel road, right?
I'm gonna take your word for it, yes.
That, the access and egress to this property, either off of Notre Dame Avenue to the north or Richard Avenue to the south, it would be considered somewhat awkward, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So its location, generally speaking, might be considered inferior to an ordinary average type of industrial property.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And in fact, all of your rental comparables you show here, would you consider these to be superior to the subject in terms of location?
Yeah, they're all in,
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough. And on your page 1, you show the wall height as being between 16 and 24 feet. Do you know what the breakdown of those?
I don't.
Okay, fair enough. And as we look on your page 3, these are pictures of the subject property, yes, correct, 3 and 4?
Right.
And as we look at your page 3, that would be an office portion of this property.
Correct.
And as we look at page 4, you can see there that there are different wall heights, some at 24, which has some mezzanine space in it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And as we look at your page 5 in the overhead shot, you'll see there the lower wall height in the bottom picture on the lower left corner.
Yes.
terms of the tax rate that's been applied here, there's no dispute on that, and there's no dispute on the vacancy rate. With respect to the non-recoverable expense ratio, I'm not sure. I'm going to assume that this board has heard the non-recoverable expense study submissions previously.
I think we are familiar with it.
Okay, and so I'll leave that with that, and those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Davidson, do you have questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Secretariat?
Yes, at page 7, is this all model driven?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And have you inspected this building?
I have not been here in about 6 years. I did not inspect specifically for this,
Okay.
for this appeal. I have been in the building before doing closing permits.
Okay. And what, so that was about 6 years ago? So how would you qualify the quality of this building?
It's an average industrial building. It's a little bit, I would say it's nicer than average, for Winnipeg being an older kind of buildings, mostly in a lot of Winnipeg. It's somewhat newer and it's a little cleaner than.
Okay, it's a 1989 effective building. I see it was renovated, I guess, in 2006.
Yes.
Do we know what was done then?
I don't recall. Mr. Borgstrom, but.
Okay. And so that's commercial roofing outfit, eh?
Yes, it is.
Looking at your comparables here, we're between 695 and 909, with the median at 7.25, and you're using 761. I think it was mentioned.
Correct.
And what is the purpose of your 11, 12, 13 attachments?
Well, these are just examples of some board revision decisions where they have used the 2% expense rather than 7% expenses.
And
So
we
that-
don't look at other,
No, what I was wondering
Yeah.
why she was attaching those, that was my question. Okay, that's for the 2% that you're attaching it?
yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all, thank you very much.
Okay, and I have no questions, so please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. Just to start, Flynn, it's under the name of Flynn Equipment Rentals, they actually have, you gotta think about this because I think they merged some roles, 3 or 4 roll numbers on both sides of Spruce Street in this immediate area. So they have what I would describe as a campus in this area and a presence. That's why this building was expanded in this location. And that's why they've continued to remain there, because they have a number of other buildings, actually literally across the street from this property. If we look at our page 3 at the bottom, and we go across the street diagonally south to the south right-hand corner, I believe that's a Flynn property. To the north,
Is that the grayish building?
yeah, to the north, they've actually scraped, yeah, and I inspected that property a cycle or 2 ago. It was an older, beat-up 1910 vintage industrial property, but they've scraped it and since built something new on the site, again, because they have this campus concept in this location. It is a slightly irregular shaped parcel. Access and egress is awkward in this particular location. The department, just carrying on page 3, the original building was built in 1980, 16-foot wall height. All of this is on page 12 of our brief. There was a 1993 addition with a plan area of 6137 square feet and mezzanine area of 4425 square feet. So about 10,562 gross floor area, and a reported wall height of 19 feet for that section. That's substandard for industrial, so part of that will be mezzanine, but almost half of it will be substandard wall height. And then in 2006, there was another steel frame addition with 6750 square feet and a 24-foot wall height. That's not anything unusual for industrial. It's not excessive, and I wouldn't even consider it to be minimal. It's certainly within the acceptable range for that section. Overall, the department has assigned an effective year built of 1993 on this property. And you see that on our page 13. And so the differences, as I go through the rest of our submission, the differences here are on the non-recoverable expenses and on the rental rate applied. This is an owner-occupied property, as the assessor has described. And so on page 7, we go through a number of rental comparables. The one on wall, the West End is as I asked the assessor, it's an older neighborhood generally comprised of lower wall height, mixed-use industrial properties. So I've gone a little further afield up onto 15 Winfield Way. This was built in the year 2000 at $6.50 a square foot. That is, if I understand correctly, an escalated rent. And there are a number of rental rates that I have also included in 1725 St. James Street. And I know that the assessor and I inspected some units within that property quite recently. That, in my view, is a much superior property. It's the more modern design, the tilt-up concrete panels, certainly much better located. And there you'll see a rental range within there between $6.50 a square foot all the way up to $9.45 a square foot, with various steps along the line. Based on the subject property's location and physical characteristics, I thought $6.50 a square foot was a more appropriate rent to apply in this case for this property, and so that's what we've done in our analysis. We have heard already, I believe, the non-recovered expense study, almost ad nauseum, I'm sure. And so we continue to advocate for a 7% non-recoverable expense allowance. And we go through that mathematics on page 9. So we show the leasable area, $6.50 a square foot, 6% vacancy, 7% non-recoverable, 375 shortfall. Based on the undisputed cap rate, we're looking for a reduction to $1,627,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Caldwell, do you have questions?
I actually don't have questions.
Oh, okay. Ms. Davidson, sorry, I wasn't.
Figured. I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay, Mr. Terrian.
Just go with your page 7, where you've got an average of $7.36, a median of $7.
Yeah.
And you decided to use $6.50.
Yes.
Could you go over that again for me, so
Well,
that I can get the logic of why
All
you're...
of these properties, except for index numbers 2 and 3, I would consider to be superior in terms of location. Certainly number 2 in the West End would be a smaller land building ratio. It's also a low wall height. It's within our records, and when I did a search for a range of sizes, in a not dissimilar area in terms of the region, as we break it down, that's what our research came up with. I don't unilaterally exclude properties from our researches. That's just what it popped up with. But certainly when you look at 1725 St. James Street, that's the large complex. I believe there are 5 or 6 buildings if we include the Tim Hortons on the site. Is a much better located, superior, modern design industrial flex warehouse, tilt-up concrete panels, right at the corner of St. James and Notre Dame. Very large footprint with buildings, the individual buildings, various sizes in there. If you want to compare it to the subject property, is superior, and we show a range there between 650 and 945. Could it be 675? Yeah. I just thought 650 reflected the physical characteristics of the subject property, and that's why we applied that.
You mentioned in your presentation on page 9, talks about a 1993 building. The city's got 1989.
Well, if we take a look at...
So I don't know why.
Yeah, if we take a look at our page 13, that's a printout of the income summary from the city's website for the 2020 reassessment.
What page was that?
13.
Okay, well, I'm got the wrong bundle here. Yeah.
At the very top, you'll see their
Yeah.
overall effective year built, 1993. I don't disagree with that.
Okay. So the city may have to look at their,
Well, I think it's like a 4-year difference.
yeah, but still,
Yeah.
it's part of the evidence, so.
And frankly, I don't disagree with 1993 for this property.
Okay. You've been in the building a couple of years ago?
This building, I'm thinking back, I've been in some of their properties in this little campus. But I don't, I'm stretching and I don't recall actually being in this one in particular. I might well have been, but I can't say for sure.
Okay, so we're basically on the same
Yeah.
page for both of you.
Yeah, one way or the other, my expectation, if there was something weird about it or unusual, it would have been noted within our files, and there's no such note with respect to the physical structure.
I'm assuming there's, although you've got a 6% vacancy, there's basically no vacancy, is that correct?
There's also no rent.
Yeah, I understand, we're estimating all this. I have one more, I think. Oh yeah, you talked about the awkward access.
Yeah.
Does that impede their operation at all? I mean,
If
because
it-
you talked about
Yeah.
how it's awkward there, but if they got a proper entrance,
But we're
how
not-
awkward is it to do the business?
We're not talking about the business that's in there or the value to the owner. If this property was hypothetically exposed to the market, anybody looking to occupy this premises on a leased basis, which is what the exercise we are hypothetically going through here, the access off of Notre Dame is fine if you're eastbound. If you're westbound, not so much. And additionally, if you're trying to run semi-trailers up and down these roads onto Richard Avenue, or Richard, I'm not sure what it is, I think it's Richard, that is essentially a residential street width with parking allowed on it. And so it is, the access and egress to this site is not as easy or as straightforward as in other industrial locations, for example, in industrial parks where the roadways are wider.
That's all I had, thank you.
You asked my questions,
I
so
did.
thank you, I
Okay,
appreciate that.
well, I'm trying to make it easy on the chair.
You're doing a great job.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to the next matter, which is 1300 Notre Dame.
If I might just jump in here for a moment, I understand, and the assessor was kind enough to forward them to me. This property has been merged with another property, and so this appeal has become moot at this point in time, and so I'm not sure the process you'd prefer. It doesn't exist anymore, so I'm happy to have it confirmed. Without, the roll number physically doesn't exist for the 2020 roll.
Okay,
And so
that
this
was going to be
appeal
my
is moot.
next question.
Yes.
So there is no roll number then, so should this be withdrawn from the docket?
No, we still need to, like, the application still exists, and we still need to make a decision.
And so if
Okay.
the assessment is just confirmed, it dies there.
Okay.
Because there's no basis for a further appeal given the merger.
Okay,
Where's the,
Ms. Colbert?
I didn't even make evidence on it, because.
that's why I'm looking for a docket.
I wished I'd have known before I did the
Yeah, we
brief.
have 1300, number 8.
Oh, terrible. I know, I know. No, I
We've
know
been
I have
going
this.
so fast here, there's just been.
No.
I read that there's no city evidence,
There's what.
that's what it is, because
Oh,
there's no
yeah.
city, we're used to seeing
I
the
was
city
looking for the
evidence.
city evidence.
I can read the roll number.
So maybe just
and
read in the
then-
roll
Yeah,
number
sure.
and the file and the address, and then we can, do you have the assessment here?
Yes.
Okay, just read that in, and,
Okay, the roll number is 1301047500, 1300 Notre Dame Avenue. And the 2020 assessed value is $529,000.
okay, thank you. And just, give us a minute to just write down what we need to. Oh, sorry, what was the 2020? Oh, here, we have it here. Okay. So you said roll number no longer exists because it was.
It was actually merged with the adjacent property at 1340 Notre Dame, which once upon a time was a 1950s vintage warehouse.
Okay. Merged with adjacent. Adjacent property.
That one I've inspected.
Does it exist?
Yeah, the appeal will simply die when the order is issued.
Okay. So I just wanted to note that. Okay. And then next we have 1373 Spruce Street.
This is roll number 1301040300. We have an assessed value of $854,000. This is a 14% increase over the previous cycle. We have effective year built of 1951, wall heights of 15 to 22 feet, it's zone M2, and there's a land to farm area of 1.93. There will be no sales on subject property, and there are no leases, as this is an owner-occupied property. It is owned and occupied by Globe Moving and Storage. And if you look on page 3, there's some exterior photos of the property. And you'll see some overhead shots on page 4. And on page 5, again, we have our cap rate chart. 60% of our cap rates fall between 6.34 and 7.8%. And on page 6, we have our income workup. There's a leasable area of 16,449 square feet. We have a table rent of $5.77, 6% for vacancy loss, 2% for expenses, $3.75 for shortfall, and an overall cap rate of 9.8%, giving us our value of $854,000. I'd just like also to point out that this property has not been appealed, it looks like, since about 2002. I have rental comparables on page 7. Again, our rent is $5.77. All my comparables are in the same market region with lower wall heights, similar land to building, and rents range from $4.53 to $7.50, with the average being $6.14 and a median of $6.43. And based on that evidence, I ask the board to confirm our value today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boardroom, do you have questions?
I do have some. If we look at your page 1, the department shows the number of buildings as 2. Yes? Page 1.
Yes.
And you show under actual years built 1927 to 2005. Would it be fair to say, or do you know if one section was built in 1927 and one section was built in 2005?
Possible. When I'm looking at now page 4, it looks like more than 2 buildings.
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
So let's take a look at your page 4.
Sure.
And you'll also, on page 1, the city also shows a wall height of 15 to 22 feet, correct? So 15 foot would give you, as a wall height, would give you considerably less as a clear ceiling, yes?
Correct.
Do you know the size of the structure that was built in 1927?
No, I don't.
Okay, fair enough. But if we look at your page 4, and we take a look at the bottom picture, it looks like there is a, let's call it in the middle, a sloping roof structure, yes? But if we look at the top picture, it looks like all one building, and they have added on the sloping roof structure to come up with something close to the adjacent building.
Yes.
Okay. So in terms just of looking at this, and we look at the top of page 4, does that look to you like a 2005 edition? In terms of its construction?
Which part? The middle, the center?
On the
part?
right-hand side,
Does that look
so here?
like a 2005 edition?
Yeah.
Could
More
be.
modern construction,
Yes. Yeah.
metal frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we take a look at your overhead site at the bottom and somewhat at the top, access and egress is awkward. This building again has a, let's go another way. You'd agree with me that the land to building ratio of 1.93 to 1 is
Not ideal.
very deficient in terms of industrial?
Yes.
And a 15-foot wall height is similarly deficient in terms of industrial?
Yes.
Those are my questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Davidson.
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Tarian?
This is all model driven.
It is.
Have you inspected this building?
I have not been to this property.
And so your rents are between 453 and 750. Why don't you take a quick look at this, you know? Well, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
I have no questions, so please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. And so I'm going to start at page 2. And that will give you a view from Spruce Street. And again, this property is on Spruce Street, which is, it has that same awkward access egress, aside from the other issues that I asked the assessor about. There you'll see that front section. That's the section that was built in 1927. And then the rear section, I have pictures, but apparently I don't, is the structure that was built in 2005. If we take a look at the rear of our submission on page 13, and you'll see there, this is again a printout from the city's website. You'll see there the top building was built in 1927. It's a wood frame structure that is inferior, certainly in terms of industrial use. See there, 15-foot wall height, 11,457 square feet. And there was a 2005 metal frame structure with 22-foot wall height, give you roughly 20 feet, give or take. Clear ceiling for about 5,000 square feet. If we take a look at page 15, you'll see there that there is no basement, no mezzanine space in here. So what you have is more than 2/3 of this building, this property being built in 1927, and more than 2/3 of this property having a 15-foot wall that gives you, depending on the structure, even if it's joists, it'll be not more than 14 foot, and I suspect less than that when you consider the beams and joists. Clear ceiling height inside the property. And we also detail that on our page 3. You can go through it at your leisure, break down what I've just explained it. You'll see somewhat better pictures on page 4. You'll see there the front section. There's an angled, almost like a metal roof running from the 2005 edition down to the original 1927 structure. That's to shed the water off one half of the 2005 edition. So we took a look at rental comparables, and I had actually the benefit of working on a property on Clifton, near a couple of dockets. Property on Clifton, which is a not dissimilar location to the subject of 1346 Clifton Street on our page 8 now. Those are much smaller spaces. These are all net rents, but the index numbers 9 through 16. This is a much newer building, and you'll see there the rental range in a similar location for a newer building in a very similar area. Index numbers 17 to 24 is the building right beside it at 1364 Clifton. Now that wasn't heard yet, but all of these rental comparables, newer buildings, smaller spaces, similarly located. We also show some other rental comparables, and so based on all of that, my opinion was that a rental rate of $5 per square foot was more appropriate for this building, given its physical characteristics and location. And so there's no disagreement with respect to vacancy or shortfall. Again, we have the issue of the non-covered expenses, and no disagreement on the cap rate. So we go through the mathematics on page 10, and we're looking for a reduction based on all of that to $696,000 a month. I should also, I guess I can mention, I did inspect at least one of the units in 1346 Clifton for the Hill hearing earlier this year. And it's your standard, as I talked about in this area, your standard sort of flex warehouse, we have a little office, mixed office or retail use at the front and warehouse or storage area at the back of the unit, typically single overhead doors at the rears.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cole, what's your questions?
The rent comparables on page 8, your Clifton index 9 to 16 and
Yep.
17 to 24, those are multi-tenant buildings?
Yes.
And I see several month-to-month leases. Is it typical to use month-to-month lease rates?
Well, actually, for me it is. On a month-to-month lease, if the landlord could achieve a higher rent, he would. He'd turf the tenant with 30 days' notice, re-rent the property at a higher lease rate, and so a month-to-month lease is absolutely valid. And you know that as of the reference date, April 1st of 18, that's the rate in place on those units.
Thank you.
Is your question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. Ms. Davison?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Terry?
No, I have no questions.
And I have no questions. Okay.
Sorry, I was just informed that you can withdraw the.
And I don't have the authority from our client.
You don't, okay, okay.
Going forward, I'm gonna make a note of that, and I'll send an email out amongst our office to let them know.
Okay.
There are mergers that we can do that.
Okay.
The other part of that is that occasionally, it's not gonna happen in this case, but where a sup is issued and another appeal is filed, the board will apply that filing fee. That's not gonna be the case here because the sup was issued in August, so.
Okay, sounds good.
There are a couple of different circumstances that can happen with those. But I'll let our office know.
Never mind. Great. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'll now close the hearing. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Way less time than you thought.